Deep in the heart of a lush African jungle, where the trees whispered secrets and the rivers sang ancient songs, there was a small village named Mbale. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, tending to their farms and telling stories under the moonlight. Among them was a young mother named Nyasha, who had just given birth to a beautiful baby boy named Jabu. She loved him dearly, cradling him in her arms as she sang sweet lullabies. One fateful afternoon, while Nyasha was working in her garden, she placed little Jabu on a soft mat under the shade of a baobab tree. The boy giggled as he played with his tiny fingers, unaware that danger lurked nearby. From the dense jungle, a pair of golden eyes watched, curious and calculating. A massive silverback gorilla, known as Kumba, had wandered close to the village. The scent of the child intrigued him, and his ears twitched as he listened to Jabu's soft coos. He had seen humans before, but this small creature seemed different. Before anyone could notice, Kumba moved swiftly, scooped up the baby in his powerful arms, and vanished into the thick forest. When Nyasha turned to check on Jabu, her heart stopped. The mat was empty. A desperate scream escaped her lips as she ran through the village, alerting everyone. The villagers searched tirelessly, but Jabu was gone, swallowed by the jungle. Deep in the forest, the gorillas were astonished when Kumba returned with the tiny human. The female gorillas sniffed and poked the baby, while the younger ones watched with fascination. But Kumba growled as if to say, "This one is ours now." Jabu, too young to fear his new family, reached out and grabbed a tuft of fur, giggling. The gorillas took this as a sign, he was meant to be with them. They named him Tano and raised him like one of their own. As the years passed, Tano grew strong. He learned to swing from trees, pound his chest in excitement, and grunt in communication. He ate leaves, fruits, and even learned how to crack nuts using rocks. Unlike human children, he did not speak words but used gestures and sounds, just like his gorilla family. The jungle was his home, and he belonged to it. But deep inside, there was something different about him. Though he had the strength of a young gorilla, his mind was sharper. He observed things with curiosity and intelligence that set him apart. Still, he feared the creatures who walked on two legs and did not have fur, the humans. He had seen them from a distance, their voices strange and unfamiliar. His gorilla family always warned him to stay away. One day, when Tano was about 10 years old, a group of hunters ventured into the jungle. They moved cautiously, their bows ready. As they crept through the dense foliage, one of them suddenly stopped and pointed ahead. There, perched on a tree branch, was a wild-looking boy. His hair was long and unkempt, his body covered in dirt, and his eyes sharp with caution. He moved like a gorilla, gripping the branch with powerful hands and feet. "That's not a gorilla," one man gasped. "That's Nyasha's son." The villagers had never stopped searching for Jabu, and now, here he was, alive but untamed. The hunters approached slowly, trying not to startle him, but Tano bared his teeth and growled, just as he had learned from the gorillas. He was ready to flee, but one hunter pulled out a ripe banana and held it out. Tano hesitated. The scent was sweet and familiar. Slowly, he crept down the tree. With great difficulty, they managed to capture him and take him back to the village. He thrashed and screamed like a wild animal, his body tense with fear. When they reached the village, Nyasha rushed forward, tears streaming down her face. She wrapped her arms around him, whispering, "My son, my Jabu." But Jabu did not understand the human ways. He refused to wear clothes, preferring to move on all fours. He growled when frightened and refused to eat cooked food. At night, he pounded his chest and howled at the moon, missing his gorilla family. The villagers were patient. Day by day, Nyasha and the elders taught Jabu how to eat from a plate, walk upright, and even say a few words. It was difficult. He often ran back into the trees, climbed onto rooftops, or tried to sleep outside. But Nyasha never gave up on him. One evening, an elder sat beside him and told him stories of his father, a brave hunter. He spoke of the village, the traditions, and the love his mother had for him. Something inside Jabu stirred. Slowly, the walls between his two worlds began to crumble. He started mimicking the other children, playing their games and repeating words. He still had his wild instincts. Sometimes, he would climb trees for fun or grunt when confused, but he was learning. He no longer feared humans. He became Jabu once more. Years passed, and Jabu grew into a strong young man. He had learned the ways of the village, but a part of his heart still belonged to the jungle. One day, he decided to return to the place that had once been his home. He walked into the jungle, no longer afraid. As he reached a familiar clearing, he saw them, his gorilla family. Kumba, now older, sat watching him with wise eyes. The younger gorillas hesitated, unsure of whether he was still one of them. Jabu raised his hands and pounded his chest softly, a farewell to the father who had once carried him away. Kumba grunted in return, his golden eyes filled with understanding. They stood there, connected in a way words could never explain. With a heart full of gratitude, Jabu turned and walked back to the village. He was no longer just the boy raised by gorillas, he was a bridge between two worlds. And he would never forget the family who had loved him first. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing stories. Share this video with friends who love wild and mysterious tales.